What's good, y'all? It's Krill from Out the Box. I'm back for another lyric explanation video. To select lyrics I'll be choosing from this song that I'll be discussing today will be broken up into two different parts. I'll just be breaking down a set of lines from one artist today, and the other video will take a look at the lyrics from the other artist. So this song we're looking at today is from BKMC Skyzoo entitled The Workload. And it's a collabo song with the talented and accomplished Wu-Tang MC Method Man. This song, to my understanding thus far, is not on any particular album. It's just a one-off single right now. As always, these lyric breakdowns are just my observation and not necessarily what the artist may have fully intended with the lyric. The analyzing of these lyrics is certainly open to interpretation, okay? So let's get to it. So the line that we're looking at today is from the first verse on the song by Skyzoo. And it goes like this. You label me a goat, I label you a know-it-all. The feeling of an Adderall, or the feeling of turning down offers for your catalog. Heard y'all playing bottle wars. If I'm tagged in, my bottles is off the carts. Adam Silver bought through the locker room due to me playing banner wars. So that first line where he says, you label me a goat, I label you a know-it-all, is a pretty dope one. When someone labels you something, it's often seen as though it's a stigma or in a negative type of light. But he's flipping it in this scenario to mean something positive in his favor. If you say he's a GOAT, meaning greatest of all time, he sees you as someone who's well informed, someone who knows a lot. He takes a phrase like know it all, which often has a negative, sarcastic viewpoint, but pays that person a compliment by seeing it in a positive light. Then he says, the feeling of an Adderall or the feeling of turning down offers for your catalog. I'm not 100% sure on what he means by this line, but I believe he's talking most likely about the pleasing feeling these experiences give. Like when he says the feeling of turning down offers for your catalog, I can only imagine that that's a pleasing feeling for him to have because he's in control of his record ownership, but at the same time, he's aware his music is highly desired. Then he says, heard y'all playing bottle wars. I believe this could mean either of the two things. One, folks are fighting over who's balling more. You know, ballers in the clubs, they pop bottles to show off how much of a baller they are. Or two, it could mean they are literally fighting and throwing bottles at each other, which tends to happen in bar fights or club fights, right? But also, when I looked up the term bottle wars, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that that term existed or even what it meant. But after looking it up, I found out it's actually a trend where nightclub patrons compete by pouring their pricey liquor on the floor to display their wealth. So it's more similar to what I was saying about the ballers showing off, right? Then he goes on to say, if I'm tagged in, my bottles is off the carts Adam Silver bought through the locker room due to me playing banner wars. So he's making the point that he doesn't play those kinds of nightclub games in the sense it's bottle wars, right? But he makes the point that if he gets tagged in for any games that involve bottles in any way, it would involve either basketball or possibly video games. But I believe it's more so basketball because one thing about Sky Zoo is if you know his history with sports, you know he's a big New York Knicks fan, right? And he also references current NBA commissioner Adam Silver bringing bottles to the locker room in the song. So the bottles in this sense are like compliments of the NBA for winning a championship. So, those that follow pro basketball know that whenever a team wins a championship, one of the things we usually see is the players pour champagne bottles in the locker room to celebrate. Now, how he arrives at that point is interesting because he then says it's due to him playing Banner Wars. And I learned that Banner Wars is a segment of the video game Rise of Tomb Raider where you have to locate 8 banners in this lost city and shoot them down or destroy them as part of the mission. So when you think of banners in sports, They're usually sometimes held by fans at games in support of their team or as advertisements for their teams. So when a team goes through the playoffs and eliminates other teams to go on and win the championship, the team that loses has to put their banners down because they no longer are competing. More so, meaning they can't wave their flags or banners at games anymore because their season is over. Him and his basketball team are playing banner wars, which results in them taking down other teams along with their fans. And he's able to now celebrate with his team by popping bottles in the locker room when they win the championship. The team I think he's obviously talking about is the celebrating with the New York Knicks, being that he's obviously a big fan of that basketball team. Check out his song Blue and Orange Everything, which came out in 2023. It's pretty much like an ode to the New York Knicks in hip hop song form. I also noticed something that may or not be a double entendre taking place. I don't know if this was an underlying point he was trying to make, but remember what I said earlier about ballers playing bottle wars? Well, ballers could also be referred to as basketballers, like the players on the Knicks, right? It might be a stretch, but I thought it was cool to highlight because he's aligned with the ballers that play basketball, while the other group he references are dealing with the ballers who are in the club showing off. So that was just something I wanted to highlight. But I thank you for checking out the video. Please let me know what you think in the comments. There will be a second part to this video where I'm going to be looking at Method Man's select lines from Method Man. So look out for that video. And thank you again for tuning in. Let me know how you felt about the lyric breakdown today. And feel encouraged to subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated when I do new videos. All right. Thank you again. Have a good one. Peace, love, and light. Take it easy.